Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where, as you can see, there have been some changes to this craft. I have redesigned it from kind of the ground up. Not really. This up here is mostly the same, although I did do some cost-cutting measures here. We went to a small inline reaction wheel. I downsized our battery capacity to 110, with this 100 being here, which, for the contract, as a reminder, we only needed 100. Now, let me just pull up the contracts here really quickly. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so we are currently working on this contract, Moon Cheese 2. We land an outpost, yup, and we got rid of this advance payment. That's right, because I probably missed that. Has to have a Communitron 16, check. Generate power, check. 4 science units, check. Land stable on the surface of the moon. Not yet, we'll get there. Under 35k budget, check. We'll get there in a moment. And use the LT5 landing struts, check. Must support over 100 electric charge, check. So that's all fantastic. So what did I do to get us there? As you can see, we're barely there. We moved this stage over into being fully solid rocket motors. That's what we did. So this should work, in theory. We're down to 3 tail fins with 3 supporting thumpers as, like, strap-on boosters, because this alone isn't enough to get us there. This entire booster stage here is all SRB. This is now a poodle here and goes into a truncated tank. Then that, of course, goes up here, which is virtually the same, except for what we've discussed. We're down to 2 photovoltaic panels on here. And this is what we've managed to do. Now I'm going to save this and we're going to hop out of here. We need to get a new scientist. Someone we're okay with leaving on the surface of the moon, right? Or at least leaving there for a while. I think this will have enough fuel to get home, realistically. It doesn't have any equipment for return, though, to be clear. So that's going to be a thing. We're going to struggle with that a bit. Who are we going to send? Well, we've got a bunch of scientists here. I think we'll send Sonli. Sonli doesn't have much courage, but has a lot of stupidity. Perfect. Okay, Sonli, you ready for this? I don't know if I'm ready for this, let alone Sonli. This is going to be a little bit of an interesting ascent since we can't control our throttling with SRBs. Once we press the go button, they burn until they're gone. That's just the way they work. So we're going to bring Sonlin here, or rather Sonli, and we are, I think, otherwise good to go. This craft looks good. Let's check our staging. We've got our thoroughbred and then our 3 thumpers. And then the 3 thumpers detach, and then the thoroughbred detaches and our poodle fires up. And then that detaches and our terrier fires up. I just want to absolutely double check that this has enough to land on the moon. In stage 0, thrust to weight is 2.34. So that should be good, assuming KER isn't lying to us. Fantastic. I think we're ready to go here. I'm not going to lie, it took about an episode and a half of design work to get to this point. You're probably glad that I didn't record it, but like I said, I was going to do it off camera. And this is the result that we came up with. It's a spicy boy. There's no doubt about that. SRBs are always exciting, especially done... I mean, this isn't, like, tremendously spicy, right? I've done spicier builds, but this is definitely one of the builds of all time. There's no doubt about that. SAS on, throttle up. I don't believe we generate electric charge from SRBs, do we? However, the Poodle has an alternator in it, so we should be fine. Off we go. Yeah, we're not generating electric charge, as I thought. So that's okay. No major problems there. We're going to go up for a while here. Actually, we should get ourselves some amount of gravity turn, right? We want to make sure that we have enough altitude to exit the atmosphere, though. So I'm just going to park here for the time being. We want some horizontal speed, but we have to make sure that we get out of the atmosphere before this guy really has to take over, or else this flight is done, right? There's not going to be anything left of it, because this thing just doesn't have the oomph to do it. There's our 3 thumpers gone. Hopefully they don't bomb the pad too badly. Looks like they're floating off nicely. So that should be fine. We're keeping an eye on this apoapsis, and the moment it hits 70, we're heading for the horizon. That's the way this is going to work. We're at 35 right now. We still want horizontal, or rather vertical speed at this moment. 50, 60, and 70. We're heading for the horizon. We are going to burn out of this SRB soon. 2, 1, 0. Okay. And we're just going to park here at the horizon. Air resistance is being exciting. And we can see our apoapsis is currently 93 kilometers. I'm just going to burn here, and it's a little inefficient to burn in atmosphere like this. But I'm going to burn here until we achieve 100 kilometers. This thing is really jockeying around. But we should be fine on electric charge now, so that looks good. Okay, I think I got the shimmy under control now. 95 kilometer apoapsis right now. We are attempting to get a little bit more horizontal speed. We're going to need it. And this won't be enough to transfer us to the moon, but that's fine. There's plenty built in here, so that's okay. We're now in full optimal burn period for this, so that's good. And we're just continuing to burn horizontally here. Like I said, until we hit 100 kilometers for right now. Actually, we can see the time to apoapsis is decreasing right now. We probably need to just continue to burn here. Probably. But let's stop the burn there for now. Let's do this via a maneuver so that we know for a fact what we need. It'll only take a moment. Okay, that'll do. Start our burn in 9 seconds. Okay, it's pretty close, but that'll be fine. Let's extend our solar panels. Cool. And we start our burn now. Okay. So this is going to burn out basically this whole stage. That's fine. This is not planning to return from the moon. We have plenty of delta V for a transfer to the moon, plenty of delta V for a landing. It should be okay. In theory. I was hoping that this would get us fully into orbit and we'd maybe have 1 to 200 delta V left over. We probably could have if we had had a slightly more efficient ascent trajectory. Like, slightly more curved over. But I think it's fine. Yeah, that's almost certainly the problem there, but it's not actually a huge issue. We'll get almost all of the speed we need out of this stage here, and this has almost 3,000 in it, right? So it'll take like 800 to transfer it to the moon, another like 500 to circularize, I think, if I recall correctly, and then another like 900 to land. We should have plenty of margin. We're not planning a return trip. Sonley is staying on the moon for now. We might rescue him later, but for now, this would be the goal. Oh, we should probably extend our antenna. If I can select it instead of the reaction wheel. There we go. Antenna extended. Excellent. And we're going to be ditching this stage very, very shortly. Cool. Just targeting this position a bit here. And getting this last little bit of burn. Now, this is very efficient, but what it isn't is powerful. Okay, we'll call this good enough. And remember, this does not have an alternator on it. So we will need to get power via our photovoltaic panels, but that should be reasonably fine. So now we're going to do our moon transfer, which will be somewhere around here-ish. It'll be a little later than this. Yeah, around here. And that's going to be about 800 meters per second, as I said. Okay, let's just check our timing here. Okay. So we're going to bring this down to about 15 kilometers, as we tend to do. That should do. 844.8 meters per second. I like it. Let's get into position here for this burn. 6 minutes and 43 seconds. Okay. We've overshot this a bit. But we've got time. And we should have the sun on our side as well once we get there. So we should have no problem with power, in theory. Yep, there we go. Power is full. Excellent. And we're preparing for our moon transfer burn. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Excellent. This is going to be a pretty lengthy burn, so we'll physics warp it. We don't have any offset thrust. This is completely symmetrical, so this should be pretty fine. I mean, except for what's in this bay, I suppose. That may or may not be symmetrical. Kind of depends. But we will burn out some of this fuel. And that, of course, will increase our thrust to weight over the moon. And over Kerbin, for that matter. But this will be a decent chunk of our fuel that we burn out here. No doubt about that. I was hoping for some of this to be our stage that was here, but nope, no such luck. That's fine. So we've got about 40 seconds left in this burn. 30. 20. 10. Okay, we'll come out of physics warp. Just adjusting to our maneuver node here a bit. That should be good enough. How are we looking? We should probably burn slightly prograde here and bring that right on down. Again, I want to target about 15 kilometers, so that'll be good. Once we reach our periapsis here, we want to circularize this. So we'll just bring that right on down. The back of the envelope budget for that was 500 meters per second. Looks like it's closer to 300. That's good. That's very, very good. So we'll call this excellent. We'll hop into stability assist, and let's get into position for that burn. And we should have comms the whole way as well. That shouldn't be a problem. Oh, hello. Minmus right over there. That's kind of wild. We'll take it. So, we're going to head into the sphere of influence of the moon now. Any moment that'll load in. There we go. We're not going to grab any of this science. This is all going to be processed on the surface. I'm a little concerned, of course, about our power generation here. That's going to be exciting. We're going to commence this braking burn in about a minute. So let's warp on forward. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And 3, 2, 1, and mark. Okay. So we're braking. We've got about a minute on this braking burn. Let's warp on forward ever so slightly here. 30 seconds. 20. 10 seconds remaining. Let's work on that node a little bit. Now this should do. Yeah, that'll do just fine. So now we need to decide where we're going to come down. Perhaps in this crater? So we could do a maneuver, something like this. Do a bit of a dogleg maneuver here. Bring this back. Maybe not quite that much. Something about like that. And then we can do a horizontal braking somewhere around here. Or just a full-on suicide burn. That might be fine. Except I just realized we don't have a KER on this. Okay. Yeah, that was a cost-cutting measure. So we're going to have to do this by gut. But that should be okay. So we don't have our advanced orbital info. We don't have a KER on this. That's overall going to be very, very interesting. We're going to warp on forward here. And yeah, we're pretty low right now, so we're going to have less of a problem with our deceleration than our pull-to-pulls did. So that should be fine. We'll bring this right on around, making sure that we're coming down on day side for power purposes. Cool. And we'll commence this burn relatively shortly here. We've got about 167 meters per second for that. Let's extend our landing legs. Cool. And we'll start this burn in about 40 seconds. This is going to be very interesting to see how we pull this one off, but it's always easier when you have that suicide burn countdown from KER, but we do not have that, so we'll have to do this one the old-fashioned way. 3, 2, 1, mark. So this is going to be a 30-second burn. I'm going to switch over into surface mode here. There we go. And we're getting this break complete. We'll be heading over the crater over here, is the idea. And we'll be looking to land in there and transmit some of our science back. So 10 meters per second to go here. It's probably good enough. Yep, that should be fine. Now the question is, when do we begin our burn here? That's 2 minutes and 4 seconds. That's under a minute. Okay. We may actually want to get ourselves a bit of additional altitude here, lift up our orbit slightly. Yeah, something kind of like this. Feels a wee bit better. There. Then we can kill our horizontal velocity when we're over the crater a little bit safer. So that should be fine. Let's physics warp on our way over. Once we pass over the crater, we'll start killing our velocity here. We're going up right now, and that's deliberate. Cool. We're about to hit our apoapsis and start going down again. I think now is a reasonable time to begin our braking burn. In space near the moon's east crater. Yeah, let's go ahead and EVA. Grab that EVA report and throttle back up. Beautiful. So we've got that. We can process that in the lab. But for right now, we're not going to. We're going to wait until we've landed for sure. We don't want the lab to eat up all of our power, which I suspect will end up happening. We'll see. So right now, all we're looking to do is kill our horizontal speed, right? We want to come down... I mean, ideally, like, right over here-ish. Yeah, let's let ourselves coast a little bit here. I'm going to physics warp forward slightly. There we go. Okay, now what is our radar altitude? 13 kilometers, huh? Okay, so we should probably look to slow down a little bit fairly soon. I will let us go here until we go to perhaps 10 kilometers. 11 and... Now. Okay, so we're decelerating. That is entirely arbitrary. Let's hope I guessed right. Or at least on the safe side of right. And it looks like I did guess on the safe side of right. Cool. We're going to park here for the moment and kill our horizontal speed. So we're just going to let this push back until it is vertical, the retrograde marker. No more horizontal speed for us. Thank you very much. That'll do. We can push it a little further, I suppose. More like that. Cool. So that's fine. We can fall now for a bit. We have 900 meters per second left, which should be more than enough. We're currently about 7 kilometers up. Cool. So our target speed is around here where we're at right now. We'll start up another burn shortly. Perhaps at around 6 kilometers of altitude. We'll see how that feels. It's going to be erring on the side of caution, for sure. We'll just take this down to about 50 meters per second. There we go. Now we'll fall on down. I think we can go... I mean, I really do think that we can go to like 4 kilometers above the surface. Yeah, almost certainly. It should be more than fine. 2, 1, 0. Okay, let's cut our speed a bit. We're targeting 40 meters per second here. So we'll slow right on down to about 40. And now we'll do another burn at 3 kilometers above the surface, targeting 30 meters per second. This is not a fuel-efficient way to land, but it is a relatively safe one. And that's all we're looking for here. We've got plenty of delta V. So now at 2 kilometers above the surface, we will be targeting 20 meters per second. So we'll commence another burn shortly. 2, 1, mark. Commencing burn. There's 20 meters per second. We'll start again at 1 kilometer from the surface, and from there we'll do things a little bit more intelligently. Cool. So we're going to commence a full throttle burn here in a moment. Right about now. We're a kilometer above the surface, and let's slow on down. We can now see our shadow here. So I'm just going to be targeting a very gentle slowdown. We'll go into stability assist for right now. And let's let this drop just a wee bit. We can target around 10 meters per second before we start going back down. There we go. Cool. And we're currently at about 600 meters up. Which is, I mean, kind of a lot, to be honest. I feel like we can decelerate here. Or rather, we can throttle down to accelerate a bit. And then we'll slow down again beyond 10 meters per second at... honestly, we can let this go for a little bit. We're 400 meters up. 300 meters up. I'm going to start a gentle deceleration here. A little more gentle than that. Yeah, that's a bit more like it. We're 200 meters up right now. We can see our shadow here. Okay, let's accelerate. Which also decelerates us, awkwardly enough. I want to be going around 5 meters per second right now. Cool. Somewhere around here, we'll continue to decelerate very slowly. Okay. Let's speed that up just a smidge. Beautiful. And there we are, landed. Kind of clipped into some rocks, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. We're going to have Sonley EVA, and we're going to grab our EVA report and a surface sample. We're going to grab our temperature scan. We're going to do our mystery goo observation and our material study, which the material study, of course, is going to be processed in the lab for right now. 138 data there. Cool. And we'll run our atmospheric pressure scan. That can be stored as well. And we can start our research here. Now, is that eating up more power than we're making? Yes, it is. I am not surprised about that. That's due to budget cuts. Fantastic. We can grab our atmospheric pressure scan. We'll keep that experiment for now. And this will eventually run out of power, yes, but then the batteries will recharge, and this should just slow it down. Is all that should do. It'll slow down the processing rate of it. But that is absolutely fine. We definitely landed slightly in a rock. There's no doubt about that. But we've got 500 meters per second left. Not quite enough to return home on. But enough to refuel a lander craft that might land to rescue. That's an interesting option. For now, of course, I'm going to call this contract complete. So, what do we get from that? 150k and 20 rep and 110 science, apparently. That's a little bit hard to implement via the cheat menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into the cheat menu. And in the cheats, we're going to add in 100k, and then 50 takes this up to 10. Yeah, so 50k would be... this is a little less than 50k. But this would be somewhere around, like, I think it was like 6. So something like that. We get a little bit of reputation. We can actually add 10 reputation here. So we add 10 rep... Wait a sec. That's not adding exactly 10. Wait. It's deducting the... Oh, that's weird. For the funding. But it's not actually giving us the funding. Okay, whatever. We'll add the 10. And for the science, we get how much? Checking the contract again. 110. So we get 110. Boom. Boom. Fantastic. And now we've got ourselves a science lab on the moon. So that is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to move that over to the completed column, and with that, it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to continue to work on some of these contracts. We actually only have 2 selected viewer contracts right now. I might have to go through and select a couple more. We'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadow Wolf, MLohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Andy Magar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.